Well, congratulations, Mrs. Lengyel. It is such an honor that you were selected as one of the Women of Woodland. That's a very impressive nod to you. Were you surprised with the nomination, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I was shocked. I was pleasantly surprised, but I was really shocked. I mean, I don't have a lot of access to a lot of kids. I only teach 3 classes here at Woodland, so
Mhm.
I don't see as many kids as other teachers. So it was a really nice surprise.
Yeah. And you had an opportunity to read some of the things that were said about you.
Yeah,
How'd that make you feel?
really good, really good.
Right?
Yeah,
We always try and be like intrinsically motivated and adopt a growth mindset and improve and grow and learn for the sake of learning and developing. But it feels good to be recognized and it makes you feel valued. So, what makes you feel proud?
my kids. My kids, man, they make me feel proud. My kids at home, my children, Jack and Josh, they're just amazing little men. Just so smart and so talented and athletic and creative, and it's just so great to see the world through their eyes with fresh eyes and a fresh perspective.
Mm.
They're not tainted by adulthood yet. And then my students at school, I love my Photo One students, handing them a camera for the first time and seeing their excitement and delight, like the first time they go in the dark room, the first time they make a print, all the way up to my kids in advanced photography and AB Studio Art, when they really understand technique and composition and they try to push themselves a little bit harder and a little bit more and just getting all that artwork on the wall for fine arts nights and gallery showings is just it's just amazing. So yeah,
That is impressive. When you first said my kids, I wasn't sure whether you were talking about your sons or your students, and you were talking about both of them.
yeah, yeah,
It's interesting that you talked about like seeing the world through their lens, and then also the joy that your students experience when they first hold the camera, and the growth that they are able to accomplish in the years that they work with you. That is fresh and young, isn't it?
yeah,
It's one of the
yeah.
joys of teaching. So here's an interesting question. So Woodland Worldwide's one of their mantras is, it's our flaws that give our personalities flavor.
hmm
So can you share with me a personality flaw that you actually love about yourself?
I think I think one of a flaw, but I think it's also a strength is my unending need to make things as good as they can possibly be. Like it's never good enough. Like it could always be better. Anytime I finish a print, anytime I create anything and hang it on the wall, I always find something else that could be improved, something else that could make it better. Anytime I teach a lesson, anytime I do anything, I always feel like there's always something else that could take it to the next level and make it better. I think that that's what's so great about teaching after being in the classroom and being in a day-to-day job for almost 20 years. There's always something new that can be brought to the table, something that can always be made better every year. It just grows and grows. And just I understand that we have deadlines and things need to get done when they need to get done, and then you just have to let it go. But always just being reflective in how to make things better all the time.
Mm, yeah, sounds like you take a lot of pride in your work, and you're very self-reflective. It's interesting because we started this interview talking about being recognized for the work that you do,
hmm
and how it feels good to be recognized because it gives you value. But what drives you really is this like desire to just constantly improve,
hmm
and taking pride in everything that you sign your name to.
Yeah.
That shows.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, listen. So Woodland Worldwide, of course, is an organization you've been a part of since its inception
Yeah.
for years. Um, and it's our mission to advance the opportunities for women and girls, within our community and around the world. So it takes some courage to be a part of a program like that. Where do you find courage to stand up, for your principles and your beliefs?
I think that you always just need to be able to go to bed at night and feel good about the decisions that you made during the day. Um, in terms of being a role model for my children, and making good decisions, and always just standing up for what is right. Um, that's where I find my courage. Like I can't accept, um, like if somebody's being treated wrong, if something's unfair to somebody, I'm always gonna stick up for them, and do the right thing, whether it's for my own children or my friends or anyone. Like it's the right thing to do. I always just have to be okay with what's going on around me. As they say, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Like the golden rule is a huge mantra of mine.
Yeah. It's interesting that you said that, it's something that you think about before you go to bed. Like, if you can go to sleep comfortably,
Yeah,
feeling like you did the right thing,
yeah,
guilt free,
yeah,
it's hard.
yeah,
It's definitely hard, We always want to be doing the right thing, and it seems like sometimes it's more and more difficult, to stand up, you So what do you think people should know about feminism, and why is it important for you to identify as a feminist?
it's an interesting word, and because I live in a house full of boys, I really do take a different spin on that word more than, maybe a different sort of family. But I think that it's important that boys and girls are treated equally and the same. Um, but I also think that it's important that I understand that it's easier to be a male than it is a female in a lot of ways. But I also think that, boys always have to, there's like this weird underlying pressure that they can't cry, they can't, be really kind, they have to be super competitive. And I try to instill in my children that it's okay if somebody hurt your feelings. It's okay to take that step back and cry. It's okay to say I love you. It's okay to give somebody a hug. It's okay to, stick up for others. Um, and then in terms of feminism, I just want, I know it's hard for girls. It's hard for me every day. And I feel that outsideness that I think, for example, my husband doesn't feel it. As a white suburban male, he doesn't understand what it's like to be a female, to be in the working world, to always consistently and constantly feel like you're fighting for what you believe in, sticking up for yourself, trying to be strong. Um, I don't know. It's a daily struggle. I feel like if I hear that someone's being marginalized or somebody's making a statement or a comment that isn't fair, I'll correct them often. Um, in the world that I live in, I think that that's the little things that I can do,
Mm.
is just to just correct sentences, really.
Yeah, it's interesting, because you do have that perspective where you're the only female in your household,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, when we think about your boys, and unfortunately they're trapped in some gender role expectations too, that ask them to be not human. Like, it's imagine like not being able to express a human emotion like sadness, and 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 being able to cry, and being told that you're not supposed to do that, that message is you're not supposed to be human. And they do, the same to girls in just different
Yeah.
ways.
Yeah.
You have to look perfect. And it's interesting too, how you talked about how women and girls sometimes have to justify or fight for
Yeah.
Fight for, always have to prove themselves, and how exhausting it is.
Yeah.
It's exhausting in many ways, to be stuck in these boxes. Um, One last question before we break. Who's your hero?
Who's my hero?
Yeah, who's your heroine?
Oh, absolutely my mom. My mom is just, she's just amazing. She grew up on a dairy farm in Ohio, and she just, you know, she chose to go to college and study to be a teacher, and then she chose to leave that life and get in a car and drive all the way across to Connecticut. She went to Bridgeport, Connecticut to teach home economics.
Wow.
I think it's just kind of amazing to think about, you know, this life that she had, and she decided that she wanted something different, and she did. Her and her roommate, they got in a car, they drove all the way to Connecticut, moved into an apartment complex in Bridgeport, and she started teaching home ec. Now they call it family consumer science, but you know, she taught for many, many years, and then she had myself and my three sisters, and she was a wonderful mother, and she taught at Long River Middle School for many years. You know, she taught a lot of kids how to thread a needle and make pancakes and balance their checkbooks and take care of themselves, all while figuring out how to take care of us. And then now she's retired and she's living the life, traveling the world and hanging out with her friends, and she's my hero. Like she's so grounded and so down to earth, and she sees it all, and she has such patience and clarity, and I just hope that I can be just as wonderful, or at least a little bit as wonderful as she is.
Well, I've had the good fortune of meeting your mom, and she is a remarkable woman, and you have certainly followed in her footsteps. Thanks, Mrs. Lengyel. It's been a joy chatting with you.
Thanks. All right.